Well, I sure hope you didn't put all your eggs in the NBA Cup basket, because the Sacramento Kings may very well be out of the running after just one Cup game. Not only did they lose to the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder, they lost by 31 points. And point differential means a whole heck of a lot in the group stage. We'll break down this game and how the Sacramento Kings are, to the surprise of absolutely no one, simply too small. You are listening to Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all season long. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC 10 News, and I'm really not trying to be dramatic in the introduction of this podcast just to hook you. Genuinely, like, the Kings' Cup hopes may have gone up in smoke tonight. We knew it was already going to be difficult when you're in the group with the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder that look even better this season than they were last season. The Thunder are now 9-1 through their first 10 games to start this season, and like I told you after the Warriors win, as good as that win was for the Kings, and it was nice to see them get a win on Wednesday night, seeing that the Thunder lost to the Trailblazers that same night, you knew, I don't think the Thunder are going to lose 2 games in a row. So the expectation, I guess, was kind of always that the Kings were going to lose this game. But in NBA Cup play, the hope is, hey, in the games you lose, if you do lose, hopefully you don't lose by that many points. Hopefully it's a close game, so that if for some reason in the group play stage it would come down to a tiebreaker, or if you were to be one of the teams that maybe goes 3-1 in your group but could potentially advance as like one of those wild card teams because your point differential was ultimately more positive than any other team in the West, right? Like that's the hope for the Kings going into a game like this. Well, they lost by 31 points. 132-101. The final score. So essentially, the only hope that the Sacramento Kings have of getting out of this group is, I guess, number one, everybody in the group beats each other. So you get a little help from everybody. Whoever the Thunder play next, whether it's the Timberwolves, Suns, or Jazz, hopefully one or two of them find a way to magically beat the Thunder so they don't just run away with this group, which is what I think they're ultimately going to do. The Kings themselves need to probably go undefeated in this group, so they need to beat the Timberwolves, Jazz, and Suns. And with the Jazz and Suns specifically, in order to make up this negative 31 point differential, they probably need to get a blowout win or two in order to give themselves even a shot of advancing out of this group, and it's more than likely going to be as a wild card team not winning the group outright. So again, I'm not trying to be overly dramatic. Like, you go 0-1 in group play and lose by 31 points, that's a super, super deep hole for any team to climb out of. So I think the NBA Cup might be a pipe dream for the Sacramento Kings at this point in time. Focusing on tonight's game, though, this was a weird game for me. A weird game for me as a viewer, because the first quarter, and really like the first, let's say 20 minutes, were really, really fun. The energy in this Golden One Center was fantastic. It was a high-scoring affair. Like, both sides were knocking down shots. Russell Westbrook got going again. The Kings actually led at the end of the first quarter 32-30. They shot 50% from the field, 12 of 24, 7 of 14 from 3. Russell Westbrook had 3 of those 3-pointers in the first quarter, also had 10 assists. The ball was moving, shots were falling. Even DeMar DeRozan was letting it fly and knocking down threes to start this game. Like, it was a fun, energetic start with two teams kind of battling it out, going for blow for blow offensively. And then the final couple of minutes of the second quarter, this game completely turned, completely flipped on its head. The Thunder ended the first half on a 15-4 run. And suddenly a game that was close, that was back and forth, becomes a 70-56 Thunder lead going into the halftime break. Now, still plenty of time in the second half to come back, but when you're down by 14 points to a Thunder team, it's very, very difficult to make up that gap. Very difficult against a team as good as OKC, especially a team like OKC coming off of a loss in Portland. The third quarter was kind of a stalemate. Some good moments for the Kings, some bad moments defensively. The entire game, they couldn't do anything, especially internally. We'll talk about that in just a second. The third quarter, they end up losing the third quarter by, I think, 1 point. 28-27. It was their best defensive quarter, holding the Thunder under 30 points in a quarter, so that was neat, I guess. They go into the fourth quarter down by 15 points, and then the Thunder just completely put this game away immediately, dominate the fourth quarter, 34-18. Suddenly the Kings lose by 31. This won't surprise you. Like, prepare yourselves to be not surprised when I say this. The Sacramento Kings are too small. What? No. You mean to tell me the Sacramento Kings, who have lacked depth of the forward position and up, really, for the last 3 years, they're too small? Yep. They are too small. And the Thunder, with no Domantas Sabonis in this game, missing his second straight game with a rib injury, the Thunder absolutely abused the Kings inside. I'm talking, well, first, Isaiah Hartenstein was just ridiculously good. A career-high 33 points, a super efficient 14 of 17 from the field, 19 rebounds, and 3 blocks. A dominant performance from Isaiah Hartenstein. He led the Thunder to outscoring the Sacramento Kings 60-34 in the paint. Nearly half, 60 of Oklahoma City's 132 points came in the paint. Like, the Sacramento Kings, the two of the first 3 buckets in this game for the Kings. One was a layup, and the other one was a straight line drive dunk for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, the Thunder were still doing layup lines. Like, the Kings' defense, their pick and roll defense was atrocious. Their ability to cut off the lane to the rim was terrible. And when Isaiah Hartenstein or anybody got inside, it resulted in a pretty easy bucket or a dunk or an alley-oop, right? Like, the Kings had absolutely zero paint presence defensively, period. The Thunder shot 45 shots in the paint. 45. They made 30 of them. They shot 66% in the paint. 45 looks at the rim. That is unbelievably bad. And on top of that, of course, they destroyed the Kings on the glass. Once again, the Kings struggling rebounding the basketball. Kings got out-rebounded 52-38 in this game. Now, of course, we could just chalk it up to, well, Domantas Sabonis wasn't playing. And if Domantas Sabonis was playing, this probably would have been better. Better? Yes. Completely fixed? No. We've known this. Why? Because Sabonis is even an undersized center himself. Not a rim protector. An amazing rebounder because of his positioning and his ability to go and get the basketball and how strong he is. I don't think Isaiah Hartenstein is scoring 33 points if Domantas Sabonis is playing in this game. But I also don't think Sabonis being there is saving the Sacramento Kings from being absolutely abused inside like they were tonight. So we can't just brush it under the rug of Domantas Sabonis wasn't playing, it'll be fine. The Kings shot the basketball well. Like, from three-point range, the Kings took 43s, which is good for them. That's really good for the Kings. They are towards the bottom, if not at the very bottom of the league, in three-point attempts. They went 15 of 40, 37% from three-point range. You'll take that from this Kings team. They shot a lot worse in the second half from three than they did in the first half. But 15 of 40, like, I know the Kings only scored 101 points, but like 15 to 40, you will take that from three-point range for this team. And I will say, too, before we just go and jump on Drew Eubanks and say, well, Isaiah Hartenstein scored 33 points. It's Drew Eubanks' fault. Drew Eubanks is terrible. Like, Drew had a pretty solid game. Drew scored 16 points, 8 of 11 from the field, 1 rebound, 1 steal, 2 blocks. The 1 rebound, though, is very, very problematic. The 3 Kings big men, I'm talking Drew Eubanks, Maxime Reynaud, and Precious Achiuwa. The 3 of them combined for 15 total rebounds. Again, Isaiah Hartenstein by himself had 19. And Maxime Reynaud had 10 of those 15 rebounds. Drew Eubanks, 1 rebound in like 28 minutes of action. The Kings just, they aren't big enough. They don't have a presence on the glass. They clearly didn't have a presence in the paint. And there can be nobody in this building, including Scott Perry, even though he inherited this mess. There's nobody in this building that can be surprised by this. Like, teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're going to take advantage of that. Like, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 30 points in this game. It was the coolest, easiest 30 of his life. Like, he didn't really have to work that hard. If he wanted to, he could have scored 50 in this game, but he didn't have to because Isaiah Hartenstein was killing the Kings. So before you just go, well, of course, Matt, the Thunder are 9-1. They're a championship caliber team, defending champs. Of course they knew how to abuse and take advantage of the Kings being undersized. It wasn't these superstars that beat you simply by getting to the rim. Isaiah Hartenstein scored 33 on you. 33. Add him to the list of new players getting career highs against the Sacramento Kings. It goes on and on and on. The Kings are going to face teams with better bigs than the Thunder. What are they going to do against Sacramento? I mean, we'll see when, not that Rudy Gobert is a great offensive big man, but Rudy Gobert and the Timberwolves are coming into town on Sunday. You also got Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets coming into town after that. Yikes. We've known this team is undersized, and until they actually do something about it, which they have failed to do for years, until they actually do something about it, this is going to continue. I hate to break it to you. This episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by DoorDash. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off of your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff that you will actually want. And I love that on DoorDash, it's not just food orders like you normally would think with these delivery services. You can get everything from snacks to drinks to headphones, ice, even socks, all delivered. DoorDash has you covered for late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and double overtime fuel up. So next time someone goes off for 50 points, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off of DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms do apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Here we go again. Let's talk about Keon Ellis. Actually, before we do that, let's talk about something actually pretty positive, amazing for the Locked On Podcast Network. Ladies and gentlemen, the Locked On Podcast Network is now the #1 podcast network in the world. I can't even believe that. I can't even believe, when I started hosting Locked On Kings, the Locked On Podcast Network was not in its infancy necessarily, but it was just getting going, right? I've been doing this for 8 years. I'm coming up on 9 years hosting the Locked On Kings podcast, and this network has continued to grow. The amount of work that my fellow hosts and the Locked On executives and everybody have put in to continue to grow this and turn this into the sports podcast empire that it is. I am so unbelievably proud of how this podcast has grown, how this network has grown, how the Locked On Kings podcast has grown. Not too long ago, I celebrated my 2000th episode of Locked On Kings, and now we can say we are number one in the world, baby. Number one, the top of the sports podcast mountain. I'm so proud of this network, and thank you to all of you who have made it possible. Had to get that dose of positivity in here, because now let's get negative again. Keon Ellis' playing time. Here we go again. Get ready to be angry in the comment section. Keon Ellis did not play until the fourth quarter. Checked in to the fourth quarter with the Kings down by 15. Keon played every single second of that fourth quarter, all 12 minutes. And over those 12 minutes, he went 1 of 5 from the field, had 3 fouls, and was a minus 16. Listen to me. I really like Keon Ellis. And of course, when someone prefaces something like that, or talking about a player like that, you know there's something negative coming. There's a but coming, because there is. Like, I like Keon. This is not, Matt, you're turning on Keon or anything like that. Don't do that. Keon Ellis wasn't good. He wasn't good. This is some of the worst he's played. He did not look good at all. Now, here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to create it and spin some kind of narrative that Keon Ellis came into the game and he was upset about his playing time. He was pouting. That's the reason why he didn't play well. Because Keon Ellis has, despite not getting the payday he deserves, despite the roller coaster ride and the mountain that he has had to climb to even get to this position that he's at in the NBA, from undrafted two-way player to who we believe to be an important piece of this Kings rotation. Keon has had the same mindset, the same attitude, the same smile on his face. I know he's a competitor. I'm sure he's not happy about not playing. I know he's not happy about how much he's getting paid this season. But that's never, ever impacted how Keon has approached the game and how he has played, how he has acted on the floor. So let's not even go there. He's not pouting or anything like that. At least there's been literally zero indication on my end that I've gotten from anybody to suggest that's a thing at all. So I don't even want that to become a narrative. I'm also not trying to make an excuse for the guy by saying it is difficult to come into a game cold turkey after not playing 3 quarters and make an impact. But at the same time, how did Keon Ellis get Mike Brown's attention and get his playing time in Sacramento to begin with? Remember the Kings, I think it was in Chicago. I want to say it was in Chicago. Maybe not. Maybe it was in Portland. They were playing some red team. And the Kings were getting absolutely... No, it was the Rockets. The Kings were getting absolutely destroyed. Dominated. And Mike Brown plays Keon Ellis along with kind of the end of bench guys in the fourth quarter, and Keon Ellis plays super well. Plays hard, plays the right way, good moments. Didn't really impact the final score very much. Didn't really matter. The Kings had already lost the game. But Keon played hard, drew the attention of Mike Brown and the coaching staff, earned an opportunity, and he kept building on that and kept building on that and kept building on that to ultimately get to where he is now. So Keon knows the value of those minutes. And if Keon does not approach those minutes the same way as he did because he now has an NBA contract, that to me would be concerning. Like, Keon, he's earned how far that he's gotten, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have to keep earning what's next. Again, I'm not suggesting that Keon Ellis went out there and intentionally didn't play hard, didn't try hard. I just think Keon Ellis didn't play well. I don't think he played well. I don't think the Thunder are a good matchup for Keon Ellis. That's one of the major reasons why he didn't play. Russell Westbrook has been playing super, super well right now, so Russ is going to be playing over him. Dennis Schroeder had a rough night. We'll talk about Dennis offensively, but he still is the starting point guard and can handle the point guard responsibilities that Keon Ellis cannot. Neek Clifford, whether you think Neek should be playing over him or not, Neek had 0 points, 0 of 4 from the field, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in this game. Did a pretty good job, I felt, defensively on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at times. But Neek is bigger than Keon and longer than Keon, and this Kings team needs that. They're undersized. I don't think we should overreact to one game where Keon Ellis barely played. This is the littlest, fewest minutes that he's played this season under Doug Christie. But I understand this reinforces the fears that Kings fans were already feeling and the anger that Kings fans were already feeling about Keon Ellis' playing time. We talked about it on yesterday's podcast. This has been something that Kings fans have been monitoring even really since the preseason. And now he basically gets a DNP in this game until the game was kind of out of reach in the fourth quarter. Although 12 minutes down 15, that's still plenty of time. And Doug Christie put Keon Ellis in the game, not with the end of bench guys. He was out there with some starters. And we know Keon has been a spark plug and used his defense and his three-point shooting to kind of ignite something. Hey, maybe Keon can give us a different look and help us get back into this game. He didn't. It got worse when he was out there. It's not all his fault. I'm not saying it's all his fault. But the realities are he got his opportunity. He didn't make the most of it. He played terribly. The Kings as a whole played terribly in that fourth quarter, and they lost by 31 points because of it. Now, we can argue whether or not Keon should have been playing before the fourth quarter. That's fine. Those of you who are saying that, you probably have a point. But enough of me yapping about it. Here is what Doug Christie said. James Ham, after the game, James Ham asked him why he didn't play Keon until the fourth quarter. Here's what Doug Christie said.
Keon didn't play until the fourth quarter. Was there a reason why Keon sat for the first three, or is it just a numbers game?
Yeah, it's a numbers game. I mean, there's a big log jam there, so night to night it could be different. It's not going to get any easier once you get Keegan back. But this is it's a good problem to have. It's one that hasn't been here for a long time when you talk about wing players and the ability to have them. But Keon's a pro, so I know he'll be ready and prepared.
This will be something to continue monitoring. Kings and Timberwolves coming up next. Keon Ellis can help you. Keon Ellis can definitely help you against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But one of the things Doug said there is true. Is like it's a numbers game, and when Keegan Murray comes back, it's not going to get any easier for any of these guys to find playing time. Like Russell Westbrook has to play over Keon right now. Dennis Schroeder, whether you like it or not, he's on this roster, so he has to play over Keon right now, or he is playing over Keon right now. Malik Monk has to play over Keon right now. So the question really is, should you be playing Nick Clifford or should you be playing Keon Ellis? And I know a lot of you Kings fans don't want to pick between the two because you'd rather have both of them playing over some of the old guys, but that's just not realistic to how the Sacramento Kings are playing their rotations and what they're trying to do right now. So that's just the reality of the Keon Ellis situation. Let's talk about Dennis Schroeder really quick. 2 points, 0 of 10 from the field, 0 of 5 from three-point range. Did have 8 assists, so at least he wasn't like completely like empty minutes on the floor. But Dennis Schroeder was bad. Like his offense was bad. He just wasn't impactful. And this is coming right after the podcast that I did yesterday talking about, hey, like would the Kings potentially have been better off with Russ playing as well as he's playing, Russ being the starting point guard, the Kings never bring in Dennis Schroeder. Hey, wouldn't it have been great to have Jonas Valanciunas in this game? I think Jonas Valanciunas would have helped with defending the rim at least a little bit, having a presence in the paint at least a little bit, making sure Isaiah Hartenstein couldn't get everything and anything that he wanted at the rim a little bit, help the Kings with not getting destroyed on the glass. I think Jonas Valanciunas would really help the Kings in this game. And Russell Westbrook was the guy that brought the energy and got the Kings going and gave them that lead at the end of the first quarter, not Dennis Schroeder. It's one game. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I told you so, but like this is why I asked the question. Again, it's not intended to be shade at Dennis Schroeder. It's just we have the benefit of revisionist history. We're looking back at a move that the Kings made over the summertime that maybe they didn't have to make with Dennis Schroeder or with Russell Westbrook being here, but they did. I understand going, Matt, get over it, move on. It's here, he's here. But look, we're always going to look back and we're going to judge moves that any general manager, Scott Perry or otherwise, makes. So I'm not going to just not talk about it simply because it happened in the past. Something that's unacceptable that happened in this game that just can't happen. This can't happen. And I don't think it's harsh to say. Like, Zach LaVine had 9 points. 3 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from three-point range. When he shot the ball, he shot it. Whoa, almost dropped my microphone. When he shot the ball, he shot it well. Like Zach shot efficiently. He just didn't shoot it. I understand he got kind of a little bit into foul trouble in the first half, and I also understand the Thunder are a really good defensive team, and it was probably part of their game plan to not let Zach LaVine get going as much as he did for the Kings in Oklahoma City on the road trip a week or so ago. That being said, these are the games that were perplexing when they happened in the second half of last season after the Kings traded for him. I know it's difficult to say Zach score 30 points a night, and he's been doing it for the majority of the nights that he's played for the Kings so far. He's a walking bucket. But the Kings, absolutely, I know the defense was bad. So even if Zach LaVine scores 30 points in this game, it's not like it makes up for the defense. But you scored only 101 points. Your best scorer has 9 points and only shoots the ball 5 times. That can't happen. Whether it's the Kings need to find him more shots, he needs to be more aggressive. I understand this was his first game back after having lower back soreness. Trust me, I can understand how back pain could limit yourself offensively. But these are the games from Zach LaVine that can't happen. Look, if you have a game where you only score 16 or 18 points because you're not shooting the ball well or whatever, I can live with that. As long as you're shooting the ball 15 freaking times. The Kings will never, ever, ever win a basketball game regardless of what's happening defensively if Zach LaVine is only taking 5 shots, unless DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook and everybody else is scoring 20-plus points and shooting over 50% from the field, which just isn't realistic. The Kings need more scoring from Zach LaVine. That is what he does on this team. They will lose with games like this. Like I said at the top of the show, this episode of Locked On Kings is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is the one making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And Locked On Kings is also brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season. Whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both, there's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere Prize Picks operates. That includes California, Texas, and Georgia. I play Prize Picks all the time. I played it tonight. I hit on 5 out of 6 of my picks. I needed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to get to the free throw line a few more times for me. He didn't end up doing that because, he didn't really need to. But 5 out of the 6 picks, I still got paid. I made $35 on my tonight's Prize Picks action. There's so many fun, unique ways to play, whether you're playing specifically around one game, like a Kings game that you're watching, or you're pairing basketball action with an NFL Sunday's worth of action. You can do that when the Kings and Timberwolves play on Sunday. Prize Picks is so much fun, and one of the things they offer that's really cool, it's their injury reboot. So if for whatever reason a player leaves the game early with an injury, the injury reboot will save your lineup so you don't get cheesed out of your money. Download the Prize Pick app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Trying to wrap up with a little bit of positivity, I talked about Maxime Reynaud and how he was playing, or how he played in the Warriors game. Thought it was the best he's looked as a pro, the most comfortable he's looked. He didn't look out of place. He didn't look like the speed of the game or the physicality of the game was too much for him. And he followed that up with another really solid performance tonight against the Thunder. Now, I know, like we talked about, the Thunder dominated the paint. Isaiah Hartenstein had an easy night at the rim. Of course, Maxime Reynaud was one of the guys out there that was struggling with that. But overall, I just feel like Max is moving well. He's understanding where he's supposed to be more. He's fitting in well and flowing well with the offense. He's not hesitating. He's making good choices. He's attacking the glass well. Like I said, he had 10 rebounds. He had the most rebounds on the Kings by a wide margin. The next closest was Russell Westbrook with 6 rebounds. So Max was huge on the glass, took 10 shots in this game. I'm all for that. 3 of 10 from the field, played just shy of 24 minutes. Also had an assist and a steal in this game, 8 points total. Like, of course, there's still room to grow for Maxime Reynaud, but we're seeing his development in real time, going from someone who I was concerned like he's not ready for the NBA game because it's just going to be too strong, too physical for him to. No, he looks like he belongs, but like any rookie, he just has to keep getting better. So the progress that we've seen from Maxime Reynaud over these first couple of weeks of the season has been superb, in my opinion. Makes me really excited for how he can continue to grow with the Sacramento Kings going forward. I wanted to talk about DeMar DeRozan really quick. DeMar DeRozan tonight in 28.5 minutes, 18 points, 7 of 13 from the field, 4 of 7 from three-point range. DeMar was letting it fly from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists as well in this game. DeMar, a solid game. And I feel like solid is how we can describe DeMar DeRozan's season to this point. Like, offensively, he's been solid, but he hasn't really stood out. And I wonder if, for people like myself, I wonder if DeMar is kind of in a lose-lose situation, because we've asked him to be more of a scorer and a piece in the flow of Sacramento's offense, and I feel like he has done that actually really well this season. I don't think DeMar is bringing the Kings' offense to a screeching halt. Yes, there are times where it's still a little bit too much your turn, my turn on offense, but that's not a DeMar DeRozan problem. That's a Kings roster problem. It's like that for Zach. It's like that for Russ. It's like that for everybody. That's just a Kings offensive problem in general. But I do feel like DeMar DeRozan is doing a good job of being more involved in the flow of the offense. But because of that, we're not seeing the big offensive performances from DeMar that he delivered for the Sacramento Kings last season. Now, we're still early on, right? We're 9 games in. There's still plenty of time for him to have some of those big games. And the Kings will need to have him have big games like that in the future if they're going to win games. But I want to see DeMar definitely take over more at times, but a lot of DeMar taking over is him getting to his spots and getting in isolation and everybody kind of just watching while he goes to work. So kind of feels like DeMar is in a lose-lose situation right now a little bit in that sense, but I do want to give DeMar the praise and credit that he deserves, because I do feel like he's making a clear effort and doing well at fitting in the flow of the offense more, better than really it felt like he did at any point last season. Coming up next, the Kings have the Minnesota Timberwolves in here on Sunday. Now, the Timberwolves are part of the Kings NBA Cup group, but that game is not an NBA Cup game. So important to note, like the Kings, hopefully they win that game. It'd be great for the Kings to get another victory, especially with the Denver Nuggets coming into town on Tuesday. That game's going to be on NBC, so it's an 8 o'clock start. Yikes, I already get these podcasts out too late as it is. That's going to be a late night, ladies and gentlemen, but it would be nice for the Kings to go into that game with a victory. And the Timberwolves, they're a good team, but I do think they are a beatable team, and hopefully Domantas Sabonis will be back for that game as well. We'll have to wait and see what his status is. We probably won't know until the day of, but at least that game doesn't count towards the Cup, so if it goes wrong, it won't hurt the Kings in that sense. But again, the Kings might be out of the Cup running already as it is. Again, thank you to all of you over the years or the days, the weeks, the months, whatever. As long as you've been listening to Locked On Kings and the Locked On Podcast Network, you have helped us get to where Locked On is the #1 podcast network in the world. It's so crazy cool to say, and I'm so appreciative of that. If I could ask even more of you, if you haven't left a review for this podcast yet on Apple Podcasts, it takes no time whatsoever. Even my video listeners, I appreciate you guys if you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications and watch the show religiously on YouTube. You guys are the best. But even those of you who watch the show, if you could head over to Apple Podcasts, if you either create an account really quick or if you have an account already, and just leave a review of the show there. Hit 5 stars. There's a little custom blurb box where you can just write a couple sentences about why you like the podcast. That helps the show out tremendously in terms of it getting out and reaching an even broader audience. So if you could do that, I really, really, really would appreciate that. But regardless of if you leave a review or not, your support of this podcast, you listening to this podcast 1 time, 10 times, 100 times, It means the world to me. Thank you so much. I hope it is worthy of your time, and I can't wait to have you join me on the next one, which will be on Sunday after, hopefully, a Kings win over the Timberwolves. Until then, my name is Matt George. You have been listening to the Locked On Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.